The Karki family is kicking off the holiday weekend with a family float down the Spokane River, even launching from the new ramp installed in Peaceful Valley.
We're enjoying the 4th of July with family that's up from Dallas, Texas.
They've been rafting on the river for 3 years now.
This is first time this summer.
In the past, they have come across areas that do get a bit shallow.
There was a few spots that were a little low, and we had to lift our behinds kind of up.
Right now, water flow on the Spokane River does look pretty low. Some local rafting companies say they've noticed it too. Because the lower the flow, the higher the chance of getting stuck on rocks. The United States Geological Survey says during this time of the year, the Spokane River flows at a median of 3,500 CFS. It's currently measured at a little more than 2,300 CFS. Avista oversees dam operations on the river, and officials say the current rate is typical for the summer months. In fact, when it comes to enjoying recreational activities on the river, the Spokane River Forum says the stretch leading to TJ Minac can be enjoyed at 1,000 CFS and up.
Really fun.
So the current water flow is still high enough for a leisure float down the river, which is why the Karki family is prepared to hit the water and enjoy some quality family time.
We have fun, but we do it safely.
Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.